Hi, I'm Kathy Dodson.
And I'm Jocelyn Lindsay. Welcome to another episode of 5 Minute Indie Insights. So, I think this episode's going to be a little bit different. Today, we're not showing up as your podcast hosts or leaders. We're going to show up as fellow writers in the trenches with you because, we have the same feels you have, and we're still trying to figure it all out. So
Yeah,
if you're struggling as a writer somewhere out there quietly, this one's for you. You're not alone.
right. So I don't know when you're watching this. It's May of 2025, and this has just been a shitty year. And it's been a very hard year for me to write, which I read a lot. um, but I was coming into the year, I was working on a romance, and just with everything going on in the world right now, I just could not write forward into a happy ending. And so I set that 50,000 words aside and thought, okay, well, I'll just go write my next, just go watch the next book in my series. And I was really struggling. And it's hard for me to admit that because I'm like super type A, get it done, and so it made me think, I worked with readers and with writers as a book coach who have struggled with things like this, but it's just not necessarily been a part of my DNA. I have all the tools. I have all. I mean, I need to give myself a break every once in a while, but to really feel like, what is going on? I can't seem to move forward. I'm stuck with a new feeling for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you felt that way, Shockley?
I feel like I feel that way to some degree almost every day. It's just that it just depends on where I am on the day and the spectrum. And for me lately, it's just been, I'm book coaching and writing, and it's this is the first 6 months I'm doing it in, and it's two very distinct businesses, two distinct audiences, two distinct ways I'm showing up, two distinct. I mean, there's days I'm just like totally overwhelmed, and I'm like, why in the world did I do this to myself? Um, that I mean, and I think, and I love what I'm doing. I don't, and that's what's really interesting to me is it's like there's I don't ever feel like it's a burden to do it. I love it, but it's just the overwhelm of there being so much. And I struggle to like keep up with things sometimes. It's like I feel like I get on a hamster wheel, and it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes the block doesn't feel like I'm blocked from moving forward. It feels like I'm blocked from slowing down.
Oh, that's yeah.
And sometimes in some ways it's like the other side of the coin from what you experience, because I'm like, I don't know how to slow down. And then it's like, okay, now I have to force myself to find ways to slow down, to keep track. So I'm not like running off the rails, like without like totally stopping the hamster wheel and crashing.
Right. But that's interesting because, I mean, for me, the first few months of the new year, I was just like, I'm getting rid of all my client stuff because I didn't have to face my own kind of inability to do what I've always done, which is get that out.
Right.
And so, yeah, my client stuff is really just like for me. But I finally it was bothering me, and it was bothering me more and more. And so I have a book group, that a writer that I meet with, and I had to admit, and it was really hard for me to admit that, I was just like getting it done. But I had some good things come out about that. So I think that's kind of the first step is just say, I need some help. Uh, this is it. And it was really funny because they were super sweet. And some of them who don't know me well are like, okay, well, here's what you do to write faster and this, that, and I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing all that. That made me think, I,
Yeah.
I have the technical part of it down. It was the how do I write forward when the world feels so unfair uh, and I'm so easily distracted because of everything that's going on. And so that one, that was a big issue. And when I finally was able to admit that, and I found out that everyone was feeling the same way, right? It wasn't just me. That everyone was like, "Yeah, it's really tough right now." It's like, I've had to take all my social media off my phone, and I've had to do this, and I've had to do that, and it really helps to be able to talk to someone about it. And I ended up getting an accountability partner out of it, which I've never had before because I never needed one before, but it's been my greatest thing. We email each other our goals, or do we actually text each other our goals at the start of every week? And then each day we check in, made my goal, made my goal. And because of my personality, I'm never not going to make my goal. Like that's why I did nano fly, one nano fly, 7 times. It's like my personality. One, that is, once there's someone like looking over my shoulder, I'm just using a little trick of my silly personality that I'm going to get it done every single day. And I have, and it's been weeks now. And so it's such a relief to be back. But you just never know what's going to work for me. But if you're struggling, it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to talk about it and have other people help you find solutions.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, there's a myth in this industry that, you know, we're going to figure it out. That we either have already figured it out, and if we haven't already figured it out, we're going to have figured it out, and then we're never going to have to figure out anything else again. And I mean, I know with myself that I often have to figure out the same thing that I figured out like a year ago or 5 years ago. It comes back around, and often it just looks different. It's just it's wearing a new dress. I mean, it's changed its hair, and it's still the same thing. And I've talked to writers who are just starting out. I've talked to writers who are 7-figure writers, and they are the where they are at in their career, and the hairstyle of the problem may have changed, but they still have imposter syndrome. They still have, writer's block. They're these things that they're still dealing with.
Worried that their novel's not going to be good enough.
The perfection and perfection paralysis, the comparisonitis. I mean, that, the feeling that they're not good enough. It's the same thing. And I know that a lot of it for me is just giving myself the permission to know that this is where it is. This is the phase it's in. And respect that part of what I'm going through, but not give into it. Not let it take over.
Right. And I love it when you talk about the myths of the industry because, of course, there's a couple of things that go on. Well, everybody knows how to write, so everybody should be able to write it, right? That's one of them. And the other is, well, I just need like 3 weeks in the cabin in the woods, and I'm going to publish the great American novel. And it's all these things. It doesn't happen that way. My first book is going to make me $8 gazillion. Just like Holly Tabers. No, her first book did not. She was published for a lot of years before she got really popular. This is hard. What we're doing is hard. And we do a lot of it by ourselves. So find some people out there that you can rely on. We want to be here for you. Find a group that's there for you, a friend. Because there are times when it does really get tough. And it helps to have someone there.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have been talking on the phone weekly for 4 years.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, and you can have different people to talk about different things with. You can have different groups for different things. And, I think I see writers, often newer writers, who think that one group has to do everything. The critique partners are also the mind, get me out of the mind muck. And sometimes that's just not it. And you just need to find the different places where you can have some of these conversations, because, man, there is nothing worse than stewing in your own head over like being stuck. This is hard work, and we're all here, and we're not going to stop doing it. I mean, and that's just it. We don't want to stop doing it. We can't stop doing it, and we care about what's going on with you because it matters.
Right. But and also for as hard as it is, and for everything else that we've talked about, writing brings me great joy. I wouldn't do it if it didn't bring me just enormous, enormous joy. And I've had a couple people come to me later say, should I really write this book? I've got a lot going on in my life. Or, this one client that I adored, she's like, I think I'm too old to write this book. And then she's like, is there anything you'd rather be doing with your time?
Yeah.
Again, no matter your age, where you are, whatever, you know, yeah, there's hard parts. It's like climbing a mountain and it's hard, and then you get to the top and it's beautiful. You can get through the hard parts, but sometimes it takes some help, and sometimes it means, admitting that you need the help, which is the hard part for me.
And sometimes you just need somebody to unplug the hamster wheel.
That's right.
So please let us know. We are out here. Leave us a comment. You don't, all you have to do is leave like a heart or something. You don't have to tell us anything specific, but, just know we're here and we're rooting for you. And, there are people out there that want your book and they want to read your words. So today's episode resonated with you. Like I said, leave us a little heart or an emoji. We're here. And we will be back again next week with our next topic. Thank you for being here with us.
Bye.